For the wonderful patriotic songs this morning. Thought about doing last weekend, this week, something for a patriotic type of theme, but decided I'm going to just continue doing the Men of Excellence last week. And this week, what we're going to look at is, it's the last Sunday, we're going to do the Men of Excellence. My prayer is that hopefully a lot of you have learned some things. This Sunday, if you haven't been here the last 6 weeks, we're going to do some review. So you're going to get a little snapshot, and my prayer is that if you've been around, it will click something new or remind you of what we talked about. And if you haven't been around, if you're new today, that it may just be one of those 2 or 3 little things that it's like, wow, never thought about that, about what it actually means to be a man of excellence. It's interesting, Rick, that your prayer just now was about our nation. The fact that this past week I got online and was Googling, checking out some of the things about our founding fathers. And most of us know that you've heard enough that there's that argument today which says, well, our nation was built on Christian principles. And then there's another group of people that say, no, it was not built on Christian principles. Well, it's interesting if you look at the 55, 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence, almost all of them were church members. Almost all of them. There were a couple of Universalists, and somebody who goes to the Universal Church believes that there's multiple ways to get to God. You can be a Christian, you can be a Muslim, you can be a Jew, you can be nothing at all, and you can still get to God. That's Universalism. But pretty much 97, 98% of the people, the men who signed the Declaration of Independence, were men of faith. Men who attended their local churches. They were, I would say, men of excellence. Men at that point in time in our society, our time as a nation, who stood up and said, we want to be counted. We believe that we should have these freedoms. We should have these freedoms. We as God's children understand that God gave his Son, Jesus Christ, not simply to give us eternal freedom, but to give us freedom now. Freedom from sin. Freedom to love each other. Freedom to worship the way that we choose to worship. Well, the last 6 weeks we've been looking at all these different men of excellence. And I think pretty much every week I've reminded you, women, don't turn me out. And last week it was so quiet in here, I thought that everybody had turned me out. I got done, and I was like, man, I heard nothing all morning while I was talking. But I don't want you to turn me out. Don't turn the radio station in your brain. No potluck today, so some last week said, oh, we were smelling the food, so we were hoping you'd get done sooner so we could get out to eat. No potluck today. You can't smell any food. But I really encourage you to listen and to look at what we looked at and to ask yourself, with all of these men, where do I stand? Where can I still grow in my faith journey as a man of excellence? Men of excellence. Noah Webster. Noah Webster, who did the dictionary. A lot of us still have a Webster dictionary. Noah was considered the father of public education. And as a man of excellence, the father of public education, Noah Webster said something to the effect of, education cannot take place without God at the center of it. I think that's amazing. A man of excellence. One who lived out his beliefs. You and I are called to be men of excellence, and not to be mediocre. I mean, in some respects today, we have a lot of people who think, well, we can just slide by. You know, if it takes a 75 to pass the test, we'll get a 76 and we just slide by. As long as we can get by. But to be a man of excellence or to be a woman of excellence is to say, no, I want to take that next step. I want to be the best that I can be. I want to serve the Lord the best that I can do. I want to be the best man for the women in my life, the children in my life, the parents in my life, the best man I can be, or again, the best woman that you can be. Well, just a summary. 6 weeks ago, we looked at Adam. You want to give me control there, Scott? Okay. If you put the mouse on that little arrow. Oh, wrong way. Am I going backwards? Okay, you take control, Scott. Does he do that at home, Leon, too? He wants to be in control? Yeah? No. Okay, the first one we're going to look at is Adam. Some of you may recall what we looked at with Adam. Adam was called to do 3 different things within his life, or 4 different things, in his life. He was called to reflect the image of God, to reproduce, you can just click there, Scott, reproduce that image of God, to reign with the image of God, and to be in relationship with the Father. Daily walk in relationship with the Father. So these are 4 things that Adam was called to do in his life. Thank you. 4 things that Adam was called to do in his life. But if you know the story of Adam and Eve, they messed up big time. Eve did, and Adam did. Adam was unable to reflect the image of God because he sinned in his life. His reproducing that image, when Adam and Eve had Cain and Abel, Cain killed Abel. He didn't reproduce the image of God, but reproduced the image of sin to reign. He was called to reign over the earth, but through his sin, God said, there's going to be weeds. You're going to toil from the sweat of your brow. And that relationship with the Father, that daily walking, was severed. What we saw 6 weeks ago then is that Jesus Christ was the second Adam. Jesus Christ was the one who came and reflected the image of God, and you and I are called to reflect the image of Jesus Christ. We're like the moon that reflects the image of the sun. It's not my goodness. It's not what we do, but we're reflecting that brightness of the sun. We're called to reproduce Christ's image. Jesus loves Kalamazoo. Part of the aspect of the greater Kalamazoo area getting together to strive to reproduce his image. We're called to reign, to be stewards over. It doesn't mean to be masters of, but to be stewards over, knowing that we're the stewards, but God is the master. And we're called to walk in a daily relationship, and that relationship is restored through Jesus Christ. So to be a man of excellence, we're called to walk in those 4 things. To reflect the image of Christ, to reproduce Christ's image, to reign, be a steward, and to be in a relationship daily with Jesus Christ. Well, the next week we went over Noah. And it always does a pastor's heart good when people say, hey, can I have your notes? This Sunday there was a half a dozen of you that came to me afterwards and said, hey, can we have those ideas, those 10 thoughts that you put up on the screen? Noah. I think all of you know the story of Noah. God came to Noah and said, hey, the earth is sinning too much. I'm going to cause a flood, going to destroy everything. That Sunday we looked at the fact that all different cultures around the world have a flood story. It's amazing that you look at the numbers of cultures that have a story of a flood. All goes back to Noah. Some of the lessons that we learned that week from Noah is don't miss the boat. One way to salvation, Jesus Christ. Don't miss the boat. Secondly, remember that we're all in the same boat. Again, we're together today, this week, with Jesus Loves Kalamazoo. We have Reformed churches and Christian Reform. We have Methodist. We have Presbyterian. There is Episcopal. There is even a Missouri Synod Lutheran Church. Now, if you know anything about the Missouri Synod Lutheran Church, anybody brought up or you used to go to Missouri Synod Lutheran? Yeah, you guys did. One of my other chaplains at the base, I love him. But when he's doing the worship service, I can't help. I can't pray when he's leading the worship. When I'm leading the worship service, he can be involved. They, as a denomination, they say we will not be in fellowship like that with other churches. But there is a Missouri Synod Lutheran Church that's involved in Jesus Loves Kalamazoo, which is amazing. So we have these Christians from all the different denominations that are gathering together to say, we're all on the same boat, the boat of Jesus Christ.